She didn't move on fast. You just noticed it late. That's the first blow most men never see coming. They think breakups are symmetrical events. Two people fall out of love, grieve, and eventually recover. But in the real world, especially from the male perspective, it never works that cleanly. When she walks away and already seems happy, dating someone new, laughing in pictures, you assume she's heartless. You assume what you had meant nothing. But that's not the truth. The truth is much colder and much more predictable once you understand psychology, once you understand female detachment. Let me say it again. She didn't move on fast. She processed the breakup months before you even smelled it coming. Women detach in silence. Detachment always begins before departure. When a woman decides to end things, she doesn't usually do it impulsively. Her brain is wired for preemptive emotional survival. She mentally rehearses the ending, builds stories to justify it, and starts grieving while you're still trying to fix things. That's why when the relationship officially ends, her emotion meter is already drained. You're just catching up on a timeline she's already finished. Men misinterpret that quiet shift. They feel her distance and think, asterisk, she's stressed, asterisk, or tired, she just needs some space, asterisk. But underneath, she's already building an internal case file, little notes on your perceived weaknesses, all the moments she felt unseen, every time her primal brain whispered that you'd lost authority or direction, and that inner narrative becomes her emotional permission slip to leave. When she finally walks out, it looks sudden. It feels vicious. It's really just the final handshake of a decision made long before. What most men don't understand is that by the time she tells you, asterisk, I'm done, asterisk, she's been emotionally single for weeks, maybe months. Now, let's dig into times why asterisk. Why can she do this so quickly? Why does her healing process seem lightning fast compared to yours? We have to talk about how attachment actually works in male and female psychology, and how evolution has wired survival strategies differently for each sex. A man's attachment is achievement-based. You build investment through pursuit, through effort, through the dopamine and testosterone loop. Every gesture, every intimacy reinforces your sense of identity. So, when the relationship ends, what you really lose is a piece of yourself. You lose the validation system that told your brain, asterisk, I'm succeeding, asterisk. That's why your post-breakup pain feels physical. You go into withdrawal literally. Dopamine drops, testosterone fluctuates. You crave the pursuit, but you've lost the target. It's biochemical famine. A woman's attachment, however, is protection-based. Her subconscious mind has evolved to prioritize emotional and social safety. She bonds faster, but she also begins detaching when her nervous system stops feeling secure. When tension, uncertainty, or diminished admiration invade the bond, her brain starts scanning for alternative safety, emotional attention, admiration elsewhere. Not always another man, sometimes just the time's possibility, times that she'd be better off alone. And once that internal scan begins, disconnection has already started. That's why she can smile right after the breakup. Not because she's free of you, but because she's relieved from constant internal worry. You're watching her nervous system calm down. You see it as indifference. Psychology sees it as decompression. You notice something else too. Her outrage disappears. The arguments stop. The dramatics vanish. During the relationship, she'd yell, cry, demand reassurance. Right after the breakup, silence. That silence devastates you because you mistake drama for passion. You thought her reactions meant she cared. The absence of emotion feels like absence of love, but for her, the absence means relief. She's back in control of her safety narrative. Let's talk about the social layer, something modern psychology calls times validation displacement asterisk. Modern relationships don't end quietly. They unravel under the lights of social media. When she posts a smiling selfie days after leaving, that's not happiness, it's post-decision confirmation. She's broadcasting to her tribe, I made the right choice. Each like, each supportive comment is her dopamine fall, replacing what she used to get from your texts. And you? You sit there comparing your ruins to her highlight reel. That's how men lose perspective. They forget the difference between external appearance and internal state. They think her public joy equals emotional stability, when in reality, it's a survival strategy. Her brain is telling her, project strength, signal high value, prevent regret. It's biological PR. Let's zoom deeper, past the social surface. into primal psychology, the ancient software still running in modern women. In evolutionary terms, a woman's greatest risk wasn't loneliness. It was being attached to the wrong partner, someone incapable of protecting or providing security. So her instincts evolved to detect instability early and reattach to strength if needed. It's not a conscious betrayal, it's genetic insurance. When she senses the leader energy fading, her instincts try to recalibrate. It can start subtly. She challenges you more, tests your frame, picks small fights, gauges your responses. Each test is a data point. Does he stand firm or collapse? Men call it drama. Psychology calls it times mate value assessment, asterisk. If your responses consistently signal uncertainty, emotional neediness, or loss of direction, that primal part of her brain updates its forecast. Low security ahead. She begins pre-grieving, and once pre-grieving solidifies, love becomes nostalgia. You won't see it, but you'll feel it cold distance wrapped in politeness. Here's the brutal cycle. Men stay emotionally faithful, even while conflict brews. Women become emotionally investigative. You assume loyalty because you don't sense exploration. She assumes transition because she already feels fear of stagnation. The result? She's done before you begin noticing something's off, and then she moves on to someone else maybe, or to independence. You tell yourself she replaced you instantly, but replacement is an illusion. In reality, most women rebound to regulate time's withdrawal asterisk. The new guy is pain management, not devotion. She gets to skip the ache of loneliness. You get stuck facing it head on. Why? Because men heal through solitude and rebuilding mission. Women heal through socialization and new attachment. That's not ideology, it's biology. After breakups, men's dopaminergic systems respond to activity workouts, challenges, competition. Women's cortisol levels drop faster through emotional sharing and attention exchange. So she heals by talking, by engaging, by being seen. You heal by doing, by testing, by drawing adversity into growth. Different wiring, equally human, but it creates the illusion that she's ahead while you're behind. Now let's expose another layer of pain, the memory distortion trap. Right after a breakup, you idealize her. Your brain runs the highlight reel, not the full film. You forget every argument, every cold glance, every test, and recall only the laughter, the warmth, the softness. That selective remembrance is your brain trying to recreate dopamine by revisiting pleasure patterns. It's addiction behavior, not love. That's why you check her socials, reread old texts, replay that last conversation hoping to find a missing clue. You're not seeking truth, you're chasing a chemical fix. Here's the paradox. The love you've been mourning isn't the current reality, it's memory residue. She's changed, you've changed, but your attachment circuit doesn't update that fast. You're craving a ghost, not a woman. And the only way to exorcise that ghost is through truth and ego death. Acknowledging that version of her, the one that shined brightest, died when the polarity broke. You can mourn her without resurrecting her. Now, if we talk about why she moved on fast, there's one more unspoken layer: social conditioning and gender roles within modern culture. Western media trains womanhood to see independence as the badge of worthiness. The faster she demonstrates autonomy after heartbreak, the stronger her social identity feels, so she performs strength. Meanwhile, men are discouraged from acknowledging heartbreak at all. They're shamed for sensitivity and simultaneously scolded for stoicism. That's why so many men collapse privately. They lose both the relationship and the permission to grieve it. To the outside world, she's thriving, you're obsessed, but in truth, both are adapting, just through different algorithms of pain. Now comes the part that wakes you up. Understanding female detachment means liberating yourself from emotional dependency, not through cynicism, but through awareness. If you keep personalizing her instinctual behavior, you'll never grow. You'll keep asking, why did she leave? Instead of asking, what part of my frame invited instability? See, the masculine mistake is believing love is preserved through reassurance. You tried to fix, explain, or negotiate. What you should have projected was calm sovereignty direction without drama. Women don't fall out of love because of one bad day. They fall out because they subconsciously sense the loss of leadership energy. That's the nice guy trap. Always agreeable, always adaptive, never leading. Eventually she stops feeling the polarity that attracted her. You become comfort, not challenge. Safety without admiration. and admiration is the oxygen of feminine desire. That brings us to one uncomfortable insight. Love isn't symmetrical. Men love more linearly. Women love conditionally, in alignment with how they feel, times under your influence asterisk. Every emotion she experiences inside the relationship becomes evidence in her mind about what you represent. The moment those emotions shift consistently from desire to anxiety, loyalty erodes. You don't control her psychology, but you do influence the environment within which it operates. That's accountability. Your power as a man is not manipulation, but maintenance of your frame. Frame means emotional leadership, the ability to stay grounded when everything becomes uncertain. When she spirals into doubt, frame steadies her. When she senses weakness and seeks to test, frame corrects direction. But if you seek validation from her, instead of generating it within yourself, your polarity reverses. She becomes the masculine energy. You, the dependent one. Detachment becomes inevitable. That's when she begins planning her exit, while you're still trying to apologize for existing. And when the breakup happens, she steps out serenely because frame collapse killed attraction long before goodbye. Now, I want to talk about times the antidote, times, because awareness without direction becomes bitterness. You need to adopt what I call *** primal ***. Primal detachment doesn't mean emotional numbness. It means choosing sovereignty over fixation. It's the discipline of not letting anyone, especially an ex, become your source of identity. How do you cultivate it? Through 3 stages. Chemical detox. You must resist every single trigger that reactivates the bond. Her pictures, her updates, texting her friends just to check in. Each moment you re-engage, you feed the addiction loop. Your goal for 30 days is silence, no contact, no reaction, no stalking. Your brain will protest. It will invent narratives. I need closure. Maybe she misses me. That's your dopamine deprivation speaking, not truth. Sit in the discomfort. Withdraw with dignity. Frame reconstruction. This is where you rebuild the foundation she no longer validated. You reassess your direction as a man, your health, your mission, your standards. Start small. Wake up at consistent times. Choose discipline over distraction. Reclaim self-respect in micro-habits. Every action that restores order to your day rewires your brain from external validation to internal purpose. Stage 3. Regemergence. You step back into the world as the man who no longer needs affirmation for worth. You speak slower, stand straighter, choose company with intention. She might notice, she might not, it doesn't matter. Because detachment isn't about indifference toward her, it's about reverence for yourself. Understand this, healing isn't forgetting her. Healing is remembering yourself. And when you've truly done that, something surprising happens. The same woman who seemed to move on fast often circles back mentally. Not because she regrets, but because women's psychology is wired to re-evaluate men who stabilize after chaos. She resenses your frame, your calm, your direction, and she becomes curious again. That's not an invitation to replay old scripts. It's confirmation that masculine healing reverses polarity naturally. So, if you've been torturing yourself wondering why your ex seems unaffected, stop giving her power through comparison. You're observing 2 different creatures healing through 2 opposite instincts. One attaches to restore equilibrium, the other isolates to rebuild pride. Neither is superior, just distinct. Stop decoding her timeline. Start mastering your own. Let me close with a truth most men learn too late. Breakups often mark the end of illusion, not love. You didn't lose your soulmate. You lost your mirror, the one reflecting where your insecurities hid. Her leaving forced those weaknesses to surface, and that's sacred pain because it strips away the fantasy of who you thought you needed to be to earn affection. Every heartbreak is an initiation, an invitation to evolve from emotional dependency into emotional sovereignty. So, why did she move on so fast? Because she was already gone the moment you stopped being the man she could relax into. That realization isn't punishment, it's instruction. And now, you either stay stuck decoding her actions, or you embody a higher frame, the kind that doesn't chase closure because he times is time's closure. The kind that's too focused on mission to turn pain into resentment. Take your heartbreak, alchemize it into self-discipline, and build the kind of man she wouldn't have been ready for anyway. That's the real victory, not getting her back, but never needing to. If you're still staring at your phone, waiting for her message, this is your moment of truth. Put it down. Go write your next chapter. Your ex's speed of moving on will no longer matter when you start outrunning your old self.